Do you know why narcissists refuse with your clothes? In their minds, it is the way they exercise control over you. If they cannot be able to get a hold of you, they can be able to get a hold of what represents you. And in whatever weird way, it satisfies them as a worthy replacement to you. Also in their minds, they are controlling your image in the society. And they are limiting whatever good impression your clothing, especially if they are nice ones, give you out there, and reducing it as much as possible, while they themselves usually dress up to the T. They do this in order that, because to them everything is a competition, they may look really nice and you may look really horrible. And in that sense, in their minds, in this competition they have with you, where you are not even competing, but they are competing with you. Narcissists compete with people who are not competing with them. All the same, in their minds, it gives them the satisfaction that they have won the competition about appearances. But there is a deeper reason why narcissists refuse with your clothes. They have a deeper understanding which they know spiritually, but they may not even know it yet in their conscious mind, which is this: a narcissist refuses with your clothes because it represents your destiny. If they can hold on to your clothes in their minds, they can hold on to your destiny. And that is the spiritual meaning behind narcissists refusing with your clothing items. If you have this experience, link a comment down below. If it's something you've seen, either you've experienced firsthand or you've seen in others or with others, kindly let me know. Many chosen ones, because it's always a chosen one, have experienced this phenomenon of a narcissist refusing with their clothes or their valuable items. But very many times, their clothes are included in there. I have given you this story before about Joseph and his brothers. It will not be the last time I'll give it to you. But every time I give it to you, I will try to bring out a different side of the story. So you can always find the story yourself from Genesis chapter 31 to 50. Just go read it from there, and you'll be able to follow along. Now, when Joseph was born, he had favor with his dad. His dad was Jacob, as we've looked into other videos before. And as a mark of his favor, he made for Joseph a coat of many colors. It's just called a coat of many colors, all right? Personally, this is how I look at things. Let me just give you a glimpse of my mindset on how I interpret scripture. In the last video, I introduced the theory that demons came from the souls of the Nephilim who were drowned in Genesis 7. After Genesis 7, God made a covenant with man that he would no longer extinguish man from the earth using floods. The sign of the covenant was the rainbow. All right. Now, scientists might talk about, you know, people in those days didn't understand the mechanics of or the physics of the way colors work, the way light refracts when it's bouncing off water particles in the rain or on the ground, blah, blah, blah. And they can try to use science to dispel the fact that it says in the scripture that God gave a rainbow as a sign of the covenant that he would no longer destroy man using floods. And I just want to build up on that. Now, if we'll jump to Revelation chapter 4, the Apostle John is taken up into the Spirit for Jesus to reveal some things to him. Now, when he gets into the presence of God, as he is standing before the throne of God, he is trying his best to describe what he can see with his eyes. But one thing that really took me by storm was it says that on the throne of God, there was a rainbow around it, like which shone as an emerald. Of course, now you cannot say there's water in heaven. You cannot say there are water droplets where light is refracting from. Therefore, that is actually a testament to the fact that the covenant which God made, because he never breaks his covenant, it's always before his eyes. That covenant is actually what made John able to stand before God and still come back to the earth alive. Because you cannot be able to stand in the presence of God as a human being and come back into your flesh. You'll die. He's too holy, he's too pure for you. Therefore, God kept this covenant that he made in Genesis 7. And when in the first book of the Bible, and when John in the last book of the Bible was taken up into heaven in a vision, in fact, it wasn't just a vision. It says his spirit was taken out. On earth, his body was in an unconscious state at that point. So it was actually John in heaven, not just a vision. He had been taken to heaven. And what he saw was a rainbow surrounding the throne of God. It is the same rainbow which kept him alive, because God had decided in Genesis 7 that he would not anymore destroy man. He was not going to destroy John either for standing in his presence. That's why I believe the rainbow was at the throne of God. But tracking back, I want to look at Joseph, because I want to believe, based on the consistency of how scripture works, that the coat that his father gave him, which is called the coat of many colors, I want to believe that coat was a coat of rainbow colors. Especially because even in his dreams when he was 17 years old, when God was giving him dreams before they sold him to Egypt, the dreams were vivid about him being a deliverer. He talked about the sun and the moon bowing and the 11 stars who are his brothers. He would make the 12th, so the 12 tribes of Judah, 12 tribes of Israel. So he saw the sun, the moon, the 11 tribes, or the 11 stars bowing down before him. Of course, his father Jacob was like, he interpreted the sun to be himself, the moon to be his Rachel, his wife, and the 11 sons plus Joseph being the stars. But for me, I believe it was actually the sun god, the moon god, and the 12 tribes of Israel, whom Joseph was talking about, who would actually bow before him. This story carried on until when he was actuated into his purpose on the earth. Because as second in command in Israel, in Egypt, he, being an Israelite, delivered the whole world. It says, as a fulfillment to his dreams, that he was promoted to second in command, and that the whole world suffered a worldwide famine. During this famine, Joseph was able to deliver the whole world by providing enough corn for everyone. Now I want to apply this to us today. If you're a chosen one, and this is how you know you're one, you have faced narcissists in your life, and you have faced them consistently or constantly. You are not able to avoid them for some reason. And when you talk about this thing that is so clear to you and so real in your experience, sometimes you talk to people who seem to be totally clueless about what you're saying. And this seems to be an unimportant topic to them. Because for them, as people who are not chosen, or as people who have not been chosen yet, it doesn't make sense because the enemy is not attacking them. He has no future that he is seeing about them that is so significant against the plans of the devil. But anytime, and this is to encourage you, anytime that you see that narcissists seem to be encountering you in more ways than one, and they do it from very close relationships. They could be your parents, they could be your spouses, your siblings, your teachers, your business partners, anyone who is in a high stakes situation with you. If they tend to be narcissists, they attack you because you are chosen for a great future. There's something about you that the devil doesn't like. There's something about you that he knows is a great impediment to his plans. And before even you can know what it is, he already has an idea. Remember, Satan doesn't even like his people. He does not like you might think that he supports his own. He doesn't support his own. Remember, Satan is the ultimate narcissist. From the previous video where I gave the tragic origin story of narcissism, I showed you using scripture from Isaiah 14 how self-absorbed this wicked spirit, which is the father of narcissism, started. And we concluded, based on text, that it was pride which was the sin of Satan. It was that which got him out of heaven. It was that which convinced, or which he used to convince those angels who fell with him and came to create havoc on the planet. He is the ultimate narcissist, and he is the father of all narcissists. Today we are trying to answer this question. Now, how can I defeat a narcissist? And I began this answer by saying, this post by saying, I will give you a straight answer and then explain it. The reason you cannot defeat any narcissist in your life is because you are not contending with men and women. You are contending with spirits. You are contending with devils and demons. You're contending with agents of the devil. That is how narcissists seem, because you know these narcissists in your life. You've met them and you know very well they are not as smart as the things they can accomplish with you. In this sense, how do they know when you're losing, when they are losing power over you? How do they know exactly who to talk to about you? How do they know exactly when to talk to them about you? How do they know uh, exactly how to carry these plans out? You know these people, you know there's just no way they could be that smart or capable. Because if they are to be able to constantly succeed in the way they succeed in destroying empaths or chosen ones, that would mean that they even have control over the future and over situations. It's like they have a telekinesis of some sort. And that just can't be brilliance alone. No one is that smart. You can't be so smart that you even know when exactly to talk to that flying monkey who you will use against or who they will use against you. They won't know exactly when to strike, because when the narcissists strike, you will realize one thing. You cannot have it, you cannot have an answer to it. It's not possible because it is spiritually inspired. The devil has looked left, right, center. He has discerned the future. He has used his experience and he knows at this point, if I strike you, you're dead. Have you noticed how when a narcissist attacks you, there is almost no answer for you? There's nothing you can do. When they strike you, they mean for your utter and that your total destruction. They don't strike so that you can get to live another day. By the time they are doing it, by the time they are discarding you, they have looked and calculated and are sure by spiritual power, because they use demonic power, to know that there is absolutely no answer for you and you will never get back up. So look at how Joseph found himself in his situation. So he is sent to Shechem by his father to go and look upon his brothers and see how they're faring. And in the scripture it says, before he even arrived, they saw him from afar off and already schemed what they would do to him. And when he came, they took off his garment, his coat of many colors. They cast him into a pit. And then when the Midianites, who were merchants, came by and they were going to Egypt, they drew him out and decided to actually sell him for profit. Then they took his garment, they tore it to pieces, they dipped it in a young goat's blood and took it to his father. And then they said, is it possible that this is the coat of your son? To Jacob. He knew it, he confirmed it. This is the fantasy that all narcissists have. To take your coat of many colors, which represents your future, and to stain it red with blood. Their fantasies are for your destruction. And this is what every narcissist who is stealing your clothes, who is refusing with them, because it's a big deal. They do it all over. It's too consistent. The world over, narcissists seem to always love refusing with people's clothes or stuff, but mostly clothes. Spiritually, this is what it means. It is the same spirit that got into the brothers of Joseph, and they decided to rent his coat of many colors and present his impression in the world as dead. Do you understand what's going on? So, what could Joseph have done? Can Joseph fight off all his older brothers? He can't. When he got to Egypt and Potiphar's wife, Potiphar was the officer of Pharaoh who purchased him as a slave and made him the head of his household. But Potiphar's wife was trying to seduce him all along. And Potiphar's wife, again, in one desperate attempt one day, got a hold of his garment. Joseph had to flee, leaving it in her hands. And she used his clothes to destroy his future. Look at this garment, she said. This garment is the reason that he was sent to prison, because she created the impression that he was trying to rape her. And when she screamed, he left it there. Of course, like I've said before, the husband didn't believe it because Potiphar was the military leader in the land. He was the man in charge of the military. Now, if the man in charge of the military doesn't kill you for trying to rape his wife, it's because he doesn't believe it. Of course, he knew his wife. He didn't believe it, but he was not going to like choose a slave over his wife. You understand? But all this I'm saying is, look at Joseph's life. What could he have done? Could he have taken the whole military and defeated it? Because he was not a narcissist like Potiphar's wife. No. Let's look at when he went into prison. When he went into prison, there was a butler and there was a baker. Both of them had a dream. The same night, he was in charge of them, by the way. And so the following day when he came, he was able to obtain a report from them. They gave to Joseph the dreams that they had. Joseph interpreted them correctly. One would be restored back into the royal courts, one would be hanged. That is what happened 3 days later, just as he had said. But the man, the butler or the cupbearer who became now the cupbearer, who was supposed to be his deliverance, didn't give to Pharaoh the message that Joseph sent him to give. Right? So what could he have done as a chosen one, as an empath? Nothing. So this is my answer. In this nothingness that you can do for yourself in the presence of, or when you're facing the wrath and the plans and the schemes of narcissists, the only hope and the only thing you can do is to become and to remain yourself. Your deliverance is in your authenticity. They might have stolen your coat of many colors. They might have darkened it red with blood. They might have fantasized about your death and already pushed the notion and made it believable among your circles that you are done for. But you, just like Joseph, must remain true to yourself. When you go to Egypt, do not lose your character in the dungeon. Your morality, your standpoints, that is your only hope in this world. Because when you are authentic, you are in God's purpose for your life, which is the only power in this world that can overcome the attacks of narcissists who are inspired by Satan against you. Because of Joseph's authenticity and morality and godliness, because he did not turn himself at whatever chances that he had, finally, his purpose, his truth delivered him. And in one day, after many years, he was immediately promoted to the highest position in the land. And from there, he delivered even his accusers. If it is a wife, he got a wife. If it is blessings, he got blessings. And these are some of the tests you need to look out for when you're in the pit, when you're in that process. Be careful about these lusts of the flesh. Those things, Satan will trap you with them. He will try his best to change you, because that's all that the evil one wants. He only wants to change you. He doesn't care about anything else. I don't know if I told you the story about some lady who had the ability to help me once, but refused to do it because I refused to uh, become immoral. I refused to claim something that was not my truth. And because of that, because that's all that the spirit of narcissism wants. It just wants you to change. That's all. If you change, we will help you. Potiphar's wife is always like that. You have to do what I want. If you don't change, I will not help you. I can help you, but if you don't, I will not help you. I just want you to go. Don't be so strong. Don't be so authentic. Lie with me. And I find it ironic that the wife that he received in the end was the daughter of a priest called Potiphar. So during the journey, during the challenges, during the pit of narcissistic abuse, there are imposters and imitations that will show up looking like the answer, looking like your way out, where you're supposed to get Potiphar's child in the end, or Potiphar's daughter in the end. First, Satan presents Potiphar's wife. And that is kind of a wordplay. It's kind of the fake option or alternative that is always presented to you while you are in the pit, which is actually not the truth. If he would have taken it, he would have died. And that is exactly what will happen to you. I don't know whose word this is for, but right now you're looking left, right, and center, and you cannot do anything for yourself, and there is no one who can do anything for you. No one can do anything for you. Your deliverance is not something you can consciously see, and it's not something that anyone can be able to do anything about. If we could do something about it, we would have done it. But God will not get to share his glory with your friend or with anyone. He is the one who is writing your story. He's the one who made you. He's the one who presented to you your coat of many colors. He's the one who has created a purpose that he must fulfill in you. And you better believe this. You're not going anywhere until it is completed. Have no worries. Scripture says these things were written for your admonition. All right? Scripture is application. I told you, scripture is real life. The Bible story is your story. And as you are navigating through these challenges, don't forget, don't forget it. Don't forget it. You remember I told you even when David was anointed king, for 8 years after, he had to live in the caves, always running away from Saul. Because that is just how it is. But going back to Joseph's story, your coat of many colors represents your destiny. And while the children of the devil might want to soak it up in blood and utterly destroy you, because that is their fantasy, yet your deliverance is in remaining authentic. Remain true to what God has said about you. Remain true to what you know is right deep down. The enemy will not be able to defeat you. It is not for man to deliver you. It is no man who made you. Even when they would want to, they couldn't. And usually those who could have already been turned by the enemy. They will not help you. But your authenticity to your purpose, if you do not lose the impression of your coat of colors in your mind, you will come into that fruition. When Jacob was dying, who was Joseph's father, the word that he gave, the blessing that he spoke over Joseph was exactly that. He said Joseph, when he was blessing his sons and declaring whatever will happen in their future, he said about Joseph that he would be fruitful as a bowl of a fruit plant of some sort, and that his branches would grow over walls, the way they used to live around walled cities, and how flowers and the fruits used to grow over the walls. And Jacob was speaking about Joseph before his death, and he was saying, your branches will be strong and they will grow over walls. You will bear fruit, endless fruit. Then he said, archers, during war, archers have shot at your branches with arrows many times, but nothing can be able to stop you from being fruitful. He was talking about his other sons who tried to kill him and all the other people who tried to destroy him in his life on his way to his purpose. You will produce your fruit. Understand me? And this is the reason why. This is the reason why you cannot defeat a narcissist. You are facing the devil. He has already planned out things and situations that in your power is a hopeless case. This is what gives your enemies that confidence. The things they've talked about you. Why do you think narcissists are so ashamed when you make it without them? It's because they have already convinced everyone. They have, by the time they were discarding you, they had already created the impression that you would never rise up. Because they had created